So wrapping around that, I know, one of the confounding factors in studies is always people's lifestyle. But in Alzheimer's, lifestyle is important and ties to risk. So what's one of the biggest unsolved questions regarding the impact of lifestyle, such as sleep, nutrition, physical activity, and stress management on Alzheimer's risk and progression? And why is it so challenging to unravel and to account for in the studies?
I'll let you
Suzanne, do
go
you want to?
first, Jeff.
Oh, let Jeff go. Okay.
The importance of lifestyle is just now being recognized for clinical trials, and we have never had good measures of lifestyle. We do not typically assess diet. We do not typically assess the amount of exercise someone had at different points in their life. We don't know what are the reserve and resilience behaviors that have gone into that individual, and to what extent are they accounting for heterogeneity that we're observing in the clinical trial outcomes? So we need to develop those measures. With the fingers trial, for example, we're really seeing a global emphasis on lifestyle intervention. We need to know much more about dosing and how one considers that and how one ensures adherence to these lifestyle interventions. But I think it's an area of really terrific promise. And I think it's something that we should all be doing, right? We all want a better brain span that will allow us to live a full, cognitively healthy life. And I would see that as the background into which our medications are introduced when lifestyle is insufficient.
Understood. Suzanne, from the,
Yes,
the
I
trial
totally
perspective.
agree with that. And I do think the finger studies have done an amazing job of moving that field forward. I think one of the really big challenges in that area is that the number of different lifestyle and nutritional interventions that you could do is enormous, and the way you define them in terms of dose and timing and everything is just so vast that trying to get a parallel group that has a true control that could, be a sham or a placebo kind of group for each intervention is nearly impossible. And so what that means is that when you're studying them in a clinical trial, you have to do a simplified version of it that you can have a surrogate or a comparable control group or placebo that can correspond to it. And it's interesting because even with that simplified approach, we're still seeing pretty dramatic differences and seeing pretty dramatic, effects in the finger trials and similar studies like that. But then that still doesn't tie all the way back to what would happen if we were doing multiple things together and more complicated combinations than they're doing in some of those trials where we can't necessarily do a true placebo that goes along with it. And then you have the added complexity that the people who are more compliant with it often are different to begin with anyway. Their genetics may be different. They may have had more, intermediate or more early life healthy choices. And so a lot of those things end up confounding things. So if you can't do a randomized controlled trial, it's very tricky. And even once you do, the compliance can differ based on different patient characteristics. And those characteristics are very hard to capture and very hard to carry forward. But I certainly agree that everyone should be making these kinds of lifestyle changes. We should be able to see drug effects on top of them. It will be easier to see drug effects without them, which is an interesting concept. And if we see those drug effects without them, and then people also have those interventions, we may very well get interactions and positive synergy where we get an even better drug response because it's on top of lifestyle nutritional changes. And I think the research that's going on right now in that area is really strong and going to be really helpful, should be combined with the drug approaches that we have that are successful as well.